developing a new video on Kyle's sense of community, volunteerism, and duty. And I thought I would go ahead and spin out a small part of this into its own video. This is a quote by Mr. Rogers. It's famous, and he wrote it for children who were undergoing some sort of strife. For example, maybe a natural disaster, and children are scared and they want reassurance and they want somebody to tell them something that will make them feel better. And Mr. Rogers' advice has been bandied around for a long time. It's good advice. There's nothing wrong with it. And it's quite telling in terms of what happened in Kenosha in August 2020. Hello out there. I am trying to get through.
With his powerful brainwaves cradled in the warmth of reasoning, it's time for Johnny Walker Dread to straighten you out on a thing or two. Emanating all the way from exciting Las Vegas, Oklahoma, it's the Johnny Walker Dread Show.
So let me go ahead and read this. For me, as for all children, the world could have come to seem a scary place to live. But I felt secure with my parents, and they let me know that we were safely together whenever I showed concern about accounts of alarming events in the world. Now, what kind of alarming event I've been talking about? Well, imagine you're a child in Kenosha that night, and Kenosha is burning. There are fires everywhere. There's mayhem. There's people being assaulted. It seems the world is coming to an end, and for children, that would be a very scary place to be. So let's read on. There was something else my mother did that I've always remembered. Always look for the helpers, she'd tell me. There's always someone who is trying to help. I did, and I came to see that the world is full of doctors and nurses and police and firemen and volunteers and neighbors and friends who are ready to jump in to help when things go wrong. Okay, so here is the advice. You're scared, you're terrified, you look for the helpers. All right, it's in Kenosha. The town is burning. Let's take a look at where our helpers were. Doctors and nurses. Well, let's see here. We could include EMT in that, right? Those are medical personnel. Where were the doctors and nurses? Well, they were inside the hospital. They weren't going to go out. They were huddled up in the hospital. They're safe in there. They're not going to venture out for the life of them. What about the EMT? Kenosha's not secured. Those areas where the people are tearing the hell out of things and where people are being injured, where's EMT? Huh? They're not going in there. They're like, oh, hell no. You don't pay me enough to go in there. I could get hurt. So they'll just sit on the sidelines and then wait till the police take control of everything, and then they'll go in and start helping people. Now let's take a look here. Police and firemen. Where were they? People were being assaulted. Cars were being vandalized. The police were all there arresting those people, right? All those people were breaking curfew, right? The police were there arresting them, correct? Arson, setting fires to things. Did the police arrest them? Where were they? They were on the outskirts in these little barricade lines watching. And then, when they got tired of all of the brouhaha in front of them, they would push the protesters into a new region where they could find new things to tear up. But at no point do you see police venturing into there and start arresting people for crimes that they see are taking place right in front of them. What about the firemen? Well, okay. The last time I looked, rioters almost burned the entire town down. There were fires everywhere. One dude lost 137 cars. Where were the firemen? Now you may think, oh, no, wait a minute now. I saw dumpster fires, taking place here, and there were firemen going in there, and they were putting out those fires just like they were supposed to. Oh, wait, no, those weren't firemen. Those were volunteers. See, the volunteers in Fred Rogers' quote, who were they? They were people from the surrounding communities that showed up in town, armed, ready to roll, and they were there to what? Protect property, to help the injured. They were the helpers that night. The doctors and the nurses and the EMT and the police and the firemen were not there. They were gone. As soon as they saw violence, they headed for the hills. They left the volunteers to take care of things. And the volunteers did. The garage that Kyle was guarding that night didn't burn. And there were plenty of volunteers walking around helping wounded. Why was Kyle carrying a rifle? Well, unlike EMT, he's actually going into a dangerous area to help people. He's not letting the violence stop him. He's going to do it anyway. And so he decided to carry some protection on him. So the helpers, it was Kyle and Ryan and all of the others, Dominique and all those boys that came in, set up camp, and decided, no, we are not going to let these people start doing these things. If they are going to set a fire in a dumpster, we will put it out. If they're going to try to break in and burn a building down, we will stop them. They were the helpers. Like my video, subscribe to my channel.